It's your boy Sam back here with another video, and in this video today, guys, we're going to be doing a tier list of the top small forwards in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. We've done the point guard list, we've done the shooting guard list, and if you missed out on those, make sure to go and check on those videos. Starting off with Bob Love. As we dive into it, smash that subscribe button if you are new to the channel, guys. Really do appreciate all of the recent support. Means more than you guys know. Now for Bob Love, look, Bob Love is your prototypical, just fine small forward in my team. He's got a little bit of defense. He can knock down shots. He can dunk the ball. He can just do a little bit of everything. Now, is he perfect? Is he a card I'd be like, wow, this card is absolutely fantastic? No, he's fine. You can use him. You can have success with him. But is he a card I'd like recommend running or anything like that? Probably not. It's Bob Love. He is C tier in my team. Shareef Abdur-Rahim, I'm putting in B tier. I do think he's a really solid small forward. One of the more slept on cards in my team. I feel like if he wouldn't have been as expensive as he was when he came out, more people would be talking about him. He just wasn't worth his price. I think that's as simply put as I can have it. But he's fine in my team. If you have the card and run him, let's say, I don't know what his salary cap price is, but in a salary cap type mode, I think Shareef can at minimum hold his own, and you guys might use him and find yourself being like, dang, I really do like using this card, and I'm having some success with him. Tobias Harris, I think C tier is fine. Caleb Martin, I think D tier for Caleb Martin. The problem I have with Caleb Martin is he's only 6'5". His release is fine, not great, but it's like you gotta find something that these cards that do at a really high level, and I just don't know if I can find that for Caleb Martin. I'm sorry, D tier is where he has to be. Jason Tatum, A tier. I know some people might have JT higher. I just don't know what it is for Jason Tatum. I'm really struggling with the card. And it's weird because I do use the Celtics some in play now. And with Jason Tatum's release in play now, I feel like I never miss. But then when I get to my team, I'm like 50 with it. I feel like he does nothing else on the court for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased putting him in A tier, but I just feel like so far when I've used him, I've just not had a ton of success. Kawhi Leonard, on the other hand, is fantastic. The thing with Kawhi is, even if offensively he doesn't give me a whole ton, he is still going to be one of the best overall defensive players in the entire game. And so that's my big thing. Like Jason Tatum, I need him to be great offensively. And so far, he's just been very mid, very mediocre. For Kawhi, I don't need him to be great offensively. As long as he's good defensively, I will rate him highly. I think, you know, again, that might be me just being biased for Kawhi, especially when I did my gameplay with him. I mean, the card was just absolutely fantastic. Whereas Jason Tatum definitely did struggle. Next up, guys, Tony Kukoc. I mean, A tier probably. He's 6'10". Nah, he's B tier. I'm sorry, I don't see it with the card. I know he's 6'10", but outside of that, he doesn't do much else for you guys on the court. He's 6'10", knocks down shots, plays a little defense, but outside of him having good height, I just feel like overall, the card does not bring a ton to the table. Maybe I'm wrong, and you guys can let me know down below in the comments if I am, but that's my opinion on the card. Kyle Kuzma, B tier. For me, another just fine option. If you want to run him, you can. The Kuz release this year is not nearly as cheesy as it was last year. So before you use Kyle Kuzma, have that in your mind. I'm not saying his release is bad. I'm not saying his release is unusable, anything like that. But before you use Kyle Kuzma, you've got to know and you've got to understand that the release is not going to be what it was last year or years prior. Lamar Odom, A tier. Look, I don't love Lamar Odom as much as the next guy. I think 2K should have made Lamar Odom an S tier caliber small forward. But at the end of the day, he's 6'10", and he can knock down shots. I can't hate on Lamar Odom any more than that. He's 6'10", still has decent height. He's just not perfect. King James, Big Bron, the best small forward in the game by a wide margin right now. Easy addition to S tier. If anybody says LeBron is overrated, they just don't know what they're talking about. Now, is LeBron worth this price? I mean, that's totally up to you guys and what you want to think about Big Bron. What I can say is, when I've used Bron, I've just had so much success with the card. KD at this stage, I want to put him at A tier. Still one of the more complete options at the small forward position. I think the problem I personally have with KD is the fact that I just do not love his release. If I like KD's release a little bit more, he probably would be higher. Just feel like the release is obviously not optimal. I think it's a little on the slower side of things, pretty baited. And for that, can't be any higher than A tier. Rudy up next, another A tier small forward. I know I've said it a lot. Chicken Man in my team plays good defense. He is really solid. Glenn Rice, am I crazy for putting him in C tier? I just don't see what Glenn Rice really does for anybody on the court. And again, that might just be me, and I might be wrong on this. And if I am, let me know that down below in the comments. But what does he really do on the court? I know he has a decent three-ball, shoots the ball decently, but I'm sorry for maybe expecting more out of the card than he gives. Again, that might be a me problem more than anybody else, but that's just kind of what I've kind of figured out when using the card. It's like, just don't love him in general. Jeremy Grant up next, epitome of a 3-and-D option in my team. Do I think he's the level of Rudy, Lamar Odom, JT, or KD? No, but I do like the card overall and think he can compete at a very high level. For that, Sharif, you've got to go down because you're not as good as Jeremy Grant. As much as I like Sharif, he's not to the level of Jeremy Grant. Carmelo Anthony beats here. Some people have cooked me with Carmelo. So although I'm not super high on Carmelo, although I don't love Carmelo, I've been cooked so many times by Carmelo, especially last season, that I at least have to respect him enough to put him in B tier. And if you're still using Carmelo to this day, I do not blame you. Luol Deng up next, A tier. Is he to the level of King James, LeBron? Nobody is that level below. Still one of the most solid small forwards we do have in my team. A great 3-and-D option for you and your specific squad. And again, he is decently expensive, but if you get him, you surely will like the card. Brandon Ingram up next. I do not love Brandon Ingram. I think B tier is where he needs to be, though. Still offensively really solid. I just don't love the card overall. Wish he played a little more defense. He is 6'8" compared to last year always being 6'7". But from top to bottom, do I love Brandon Ingram? Do I think he's one of the best small forwards we have in my team? I just don't. Sean Marion, C tier. Look, Sean Marion's release is horrible. His free throw is horrible. If you've never used Sean Marion, just use his release, man. I'm telling you, it will turn you off so fast. And for me, I can't hype up a card that release-wise is absolutely just not great in my team. Chris Middleton up next. I want to put you high, Chris. I really do. But I think you belong at B tier. Look, I know you're going to knock down shots. I know defensively you're solid. But you're just not great. And it all starts with that release. I think that release is baited. I think it's tough to get off. And for that, you're B tier. And that's being generous. I'm being generous with Chris Middleton, putting him at B tier. Wish I could put him higher, though. Andrew Wiggins, B tier as well. He's fine. Definitely a card you can run. Gonna play more defense than Chris Middleton. And if I'm comparing the two, I probably do like Andrew Wiggins more. But similar to Chris Middleton, I do not love the release of Andrew Wiggins. And I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be generous. But I just do not like the release of the card. Larry Bird at this stage, C tier. I played a guy today that in Clutch Time Online was just trying to cheese me with Larry Bird. He was trying to just shoot a ton of threes with the card. And I'm like, what are you doing? Larry Bird's not like that. C tier, slow, not great. Jerome Kersey, our first F tier card. He's F tier. And I'm going to move Larry Bird down because I'm not super high on him. Jerome Kersey's a bona fide scrub. I'm sorry for everybody that likes Jerome Kersey, but he's a bona fide scrub that can't play and will never play for me. If you're using Jerome Kersey, all I can honestly say is I am sorry. I'm sorry that whoever recommended you to get Jerome Kersey from the token market and run him, I'm sorry, because they should have given you better advice. Glenn Robinson up next, B tier at minimum. I really do like Glenn. I think Glenn is one of the most underrated cards in 2K. People really don't talk about him. People really don't hype him up. But as far as a 3-and-D option that can attack the rim, Glenn Robinson is at the top of my list. A really solid overall card in my team. Terry D up next. I'm going to put him at C tier. Just for the sole fact that he can't play shooting guard, 2K didn't make him great. I'm sorry for all the Terry D fans out there. I'm going to need to see a better one than this one. If you want me to hype him up. Now, I'm not saying you guys can't hype up yours, but for me to hype up Terry D, he's going to need to look a little bit better. Ami Kawhi up next. I think I still got to put him at B tier. Look, the card wasn't perfect when he came out. The card's still not perfect. But as far as the 3-and-D option, he is still really solid. I think B tier is where he belongs. Still going to green basically every shot you take with him. And for that, I still have to respect him a decent amount. Kawhi, Amethyst, B tier. Jason Tatum, I think I got to put it C tier. And I know he's all around super good, super complete. But when you're looking at some of the best small forwards in the game, I think at this stage he is C tier, especially with the new JT. I just can't put him any higher. Danny Ferry up next. I do not like the card C tier. I do not like Danny Ferry. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Don't like how complete he is. I just think the card leaves a lot to be desired. And there's probably some people out there that love Danny Ferry, that have a lot of success with him, and that's awesome. If that's you, man, I'm super happy, super glad for you. But all I can say is if you're having success with Danny Ferry, you can have a lot more success with anybody above B tier. Hidu Turkoglu D tier. I know in my gameplay I looked like I could cook with Hidu. He is not good in my team, and I'm not gonna sit here and gas the card up. He is not the Hidu of old, not good at all. MPJ up next. I think I gotta put MPJ at C tier. His release actually isn't bad. I know he's 6'10", has a decent frame, but do I love MPJ? No, he's fine. You can use him and have some success with him. I do think C tier is the right spot. Big game James Worthy up next. I'm gonna put James Worthy at B tier. Card I think that's slept on. Nobody's really talking about big game James, but he can compete, and it all starts with his release. Solid release in my team, not great. I'm not gonna sit here and gas it, but I do think he's got a solid release. That combined with his 6'9" frame, wide player build, I think Big Game James is deserving of my B tier. Jamal Mashburn, look, am I supposed to hype this card up? I don't know. I'm gonna be 100% honest and 100% transparent. I don't know where Jamal Mashburn is. I don't know how you get him. I'm guessing he's your 'tis the season on the road to level 40. This card stinks. D tier. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Rashard Lewis, another card that did come out in that swagger set, D tier. Not gonna sit here and hype up a card that I do not like. That's just not right on me to do for you guys. Michael Beasley. I'm gonna say it like this. If you don't believe in Michael Beasley, you need to watch the No Money Spent Squad series. Because recently on the No Money Spent Squad series, he has taken over. I never thought Michael Beasley would be the card that literally, takes over the No Money Spent Squad series, but he's done it. He's been absolutely elite recently, and it all for Michael Beasley starts and ends with that Terrence Mann base. If you got that Terrence Mann base like Michael Beasley does, you can do a lot of things at a high level on the court. 6'9", good frame. Defensive stats aren't great, but again, his release more than makes up for that. Aaron Gordon, D tier. I mean, slow release. I do not like the card. Grant Hill, I'm gonna go C tier. Peja, I just D tier. I don't see it with the card again, and I'm gonna say that with a lot of people. I don't see it. Gonna move Bob Love down just because I don't really see it with him either. Look, D tier is not horrible. You can use actually some cards that have a D tier and have a lot of success with them, but overall, I'm just not a big fan of them. Andre Kirilenko, I think B tier is where he belongs, right at the same tier as Kawhi. Whoever you like between Andre Kirilenko and Kawhi, you can use, but neither of those cards, in my opinion, are deserving of A tier. And I know that's going to make people mad that Lamar Odom is at A tier, but look, even with Lamar Odom, I think he does a little bit more. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to move Lamar Odom down. Lamar Odom is so mid, I'm going B tier. Scotty Barnes, B tier. Scotty's going to play a lot of defense, going to knock down open shots. I can't hate on the card. B tier, I think, is ultimately what he is deserving of. Scottie Pippen up next. For Scotty P, B tier. I mean, look, I love his release. I wish I could go higher with Scotty P. I just can't. You know, you can't put a card that is this outdated above B tier. PJ Tucker, it's going to be a surprise. I'm putting him in B tier. I know PJ's speed's not great. Ladder Queen is fantastic. Release is great. PJ Tucker, B tier. Again, if you want to see where Terrence Mann was, go watch the shooting guard tier list. Santi Aldama, I'm sorry. I don't see it with you. I know you're 7 feet tall, but I'm going to put you at D tier. And if you want to argue me, man, show me something with the card. Because as far as I'm concerned right now, I just do not see it with Santi Aldama. Again, if you think the card's good, show me something. I'm willing to listen and watch, but I just don't think that highly of the card. Tim Thomas, C tier. Look, he's tall, he's lengthy. It's just his release is that LaMelo base, which last year was one of the best releases in the game. This year, not so much. Shane Battier, another card I'm really high on, B tier. Again, Cam Reddish on that shooting guard tier list, so go watch where he was at because I'm a big fan of Cam Reddish as well. But Shane Battier, great 3-and-D option in my team. Nicholas Batum up next, D tier. I don't like his release. Overall, he's fine. Just not a card I can really recommend you guys picking up. DFS Dorian Finney-Smith last, certainly not least. I'm going to go C tier. I do like the card. I just think he's a worse version of like a Kawhi Andre Kirilenko. No, I actually don't. Dorian Finney-Smith, I'm putting you at D tier. Or at B tier. Your release is easy to green. It's on the slower side of things. But you also do play a ton of defense for me. I like DFS enough to put him at B tier. Small forward tier list, we've only got 2 guys at S tier, but I think this is something I'm happy with, where I've got each and every one of my guys ranked. Let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments, because I'm super eager to hear who I was too high on, ultimately too low on. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you are doing. As always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.